Yep.
Cool. Our next speaker is Viktor from Oicos, and he's going to talk about Bank of Algorithms, central banks, and yeah, money theory.
Yeah, thanks a lot to the Statebox teams for this great event here, and the research and mathematics workshop as well. So I'm doing a similar kind of things with a company which is me and Florian and usually some other academics around. We are coming from research and similar tools as Statebox is using, and here's one application of our research. This is connected to open games. I will tell you some things about it. So this is about my old research of money theory, for which open games were partly for it, but also for other things invented to get that right. So money theory is, if you want, a business plan for the central banks and for the Bank of Central Banks. So that's very relevant to cryptocurrencies, obviously. Technically, you would call it the semantics of rules or institutions for games. In networks of accounting, you see networks and intranets and Statebox appear here as well. So what is money and debt? So I will guide you a little bit through a little simulation. It is really much more complicated. Lots of bodies of centuries of research in economics going on. We still don't have really a convincing money theory. This is my take on it, together with another monetary theorist who worked on that since years. So money is here a communication medium for reaching consensus on the criteria for resource allocation. So that's a very complicated sentence. I will show you a little bit on what it might look like. The first sketch of a simulation which will become then a combined categorical model, hopefully. So this is how it looks like. That's essentially an Excel sheet with some calculations and arrows showing the dependency. So you don't need to understand that. I will give you an idea what this is about. So first we have investment and repayment. So that's the reason why we have money. So first the project is invested, so production starts with an investment, and then repayment goes on. So that's an investment, several projects. This is repayment over time. Then we have some resources here, wage and capital allocation, or capital needs to be paid, or land, or whatever you want to call it. Then we have some national accounts. So there we have governments, households, production functions, companies, central banks, banks, the rest of the world, these kind of things, environment. So here then we have behavior and production. So from that investment, initial investment, some products are produced by using labor and by using capital, and then this production is sold on the market, and consumers buy that. So these are those who got wages, they then buy the product. Right? So that is what is going on here. If you want, this is the consensus or the equilibrium or the national accounting balances, or however you might call these aggregate decisions of the aggregate entity. Right? So social systems are that complicated, not only because humans behave strange or not strange or in complex situations, but because there are also entities which behave, which are not human agents. So these are institutions, constitutions, all kinds of companies and the like. Right? So that's natural, I think, to use this kind of categorical and algebraic geometry machinery here, mathematics, because we really talk about macro aggregates, we talk about entities, the whole society, the whole community, the whole company, and the like. And the question is how to put that together, right? So obviously, simulating that on an Excel sheet is not the preferred technology. Even so, most of the bank and insurance industries are run on that. So, so how could one do that? And first of all, what is money here, actually? So this is kind of the full circle production of you start, investment, you produce, you sell the stuff, repay your loans. So that's the importance here. The companies produce goods just in order to get money, because this is the medium of liquidity, which is here the simplest model used as the only means to repay debt, right? Then more complicated smart contracts, the money arise, mainly like debt, and loans and credits, which are created by the commercial banking sector, right? So there's obviously an inside hierarchy here, which can be modeled, and these are all different institutions which humans came up in societies for their need of the functionality of needing a liquidity. So it used to be a split tally, then it used to be some shells, then some papers, then some interbanking, commercial banking auction systems as we have now. Now we have smart contracts, so and blockchains and this stuff. So this technology change not only needs to re-look at what happened in the past, but one needs to re-look at how the functionality in the past has been implemented by the then available technology. And from that, one can figure out how now modern technology changes the implementation. Okay, so what is money here? Money is here liquidity today in concurrent production and exchange of future consumption. So that's the problem. We need liquidity today, and we need incongruent production. So that's a dimension economists overlooked very largely. But money is then, in economics theory, some kind of special good or whatever kind of exchange thing. But actually it serves the purpose to trade and exchange liquidity among the projects here. So one company produces, has some liquidity left, sells it to the other, and by that, this would be a very Roman blockchain, so to say. That is what happened before the interbanking trade. We had just papers and people run around between the cities and they were trading this liquidity. So that was a blockchain by Adidas, if you want. Right? These are different technologies. So this is liquidity, that's what you need. Then you need production and exchange of future consumption goods. So that's what money serves for. So it's a cross and intertemporal trade facility. That's the functionality. How can we do that? So, yeah, this is just the last point. It's really about today and future. That's a very complicated process here. So the whole banking sector is here inside. Commercial banks and central banks and bank of central banks, governments, finance ministers, all these guys trade futures to today. Oh, so how would we do that? We would do that by modularity, by compositional of open games and networks. So open game, this is what we came up with as research. Open games is a string diagrammatic version of games. The origin is a little bit more general, it's compositional, and we are now at the stage of being able to use it. So it took us many years to really figure out the very basics and how to relate it to usual economics and what can we do more with it and so on and so on. And so that's the basic building block, so to say, the Lego, the Minecraft thing of social systems. So if you build Minecraft city, it's empty afterwards, right? So what makes it into a social system? What is the basic building block of these things which are making social systems into social systems? So that's our proposal. You can compose it, and then it looks like a usual game. Coca-Cola plays with Pepsi. They decide on putting sugar or flavor, and then they get profit both of them, and then they anticipate. So this little wriggle here is actually the difference and the addition of our work to Patronets. So we have a future coming in here. So these are goals or anticipations or and so on. And these are then strategies and decisions on different alternatives, given some goals, preferences, and whatever. So that could be smart contracts, that could be the management system, or hierarchical networks, the solutions and proofs are then decisions and strategies. And this can be built into even bigger systems, macro systems, where we have context. I plugged in mutual sovereignty, I like that. So decentralized control, I would call it. So essentially we talk about here where the optimal control level is Should we have companies? Should we have centralized governments? Should we have... so here is the social theoretical location where decentralization is to be discussed. On the institutional level, which tells us we have, let's say, interbanking trade for liquidity, which is kind of in the middle of centralized and totally decentralized, or completely just smart contracts without interbanking options, totally decentralized. So that's about levels of control. We cannot have a complete decentralized trade because the definition of a system is a centralized thing. So if you have a system which is acting in any way autonomous, then it's a centralized notion. The identity is a centralization. So it's not bad. We have centralization to have institutions. So these are rules, cultures, whatever we have in communities, such that then our micro-level rules and decisions are simpler. So there's a purpose for institutions. So we cannot say we have blockchains now, we don't need centralization. I mean, that's bullshit, because we need central structures and they will not go away. I mean, every one of us is a central structure, namely a consciousness, which is an emergent property of a decentralized thing. So, point. And so that would be somewhere here. The rules of the game can become itself players, right? So if the rules of the game become itself players, then we talk about really institutional dynamics, social dynamics, institutional coming into existence, these kind of things. Right? So this is our general framework. It can be put into many different uses. I will sketch a few, just to recap. So if you want to model a central bank by that, so we would use this building block. We would have money. It's a peer-to-peer trust system. Right? So decentralized credits were peer-to-peer, so I know you, I owe you because I know you. And this you can trade and exchange to the next. So these are networks of trust, networks, peer-to-peer, so they aggregate into different control levels. So we have here in the application money theory, technically it's about optimal currency areas, so what part of the economy should be run by a central bank on currency. This question is again about modularization, because we would isolate one part of the exchange of an economy such that the inflation rate can be stabilized, but still having a flexible nominal exchange rate to the outside world. So all these collateralized currency, cryptocurrency now are not cryptocurrencies, they have fixed exchange rate against the dollar or whatever. So this is importing monetary policy into the usage, and they cannot run an own monetary policy, because for that you need debt contracts, exchange, you need to do some economics before you can have a currency. So in general, this can be used for any kind of bio-socioeconomic systems, I guess. So you could use it for Internet of Things, smart contracts, energy networks. We have talked with people implementing games, so gaming in the game. When the institutions change, there's some institutional dynamics going on. If the players are able to set up their own structures, social structures like markets, then you need these kind of things. Smart cities, obviously, these application in games, in game engines are called social engines, and the idea is that they can maybe really run cities, smart cities, where you have these building block built social systems, and then the smart city is first represented one-to-one in the virtual world as a digital twin, or however you want to call it, and then coordination takes place within these representations. Fintech, that's where I'm coming from. Compositionality is very important here, partly part of the last financial crisis, apart from not having a clue what monetary policy was about, monetary theories for the central banks, so they have no idea either, was that the financial instrument became too complicated. They just don't know what the mortgage pass-through sold from US real estate market to the sub-German retail bank, what this actually makes to the risk structure of the whole thing. So there's no way to do the risk analysis on top of contracts which have 100 pages of legal law, speech speak, and then some economics behind it, and some code behind it, and you don't know what, right? So compositionality is here important for fintech. For trade finance, this would be supply chain management tools for credit, the credit business, if you want. One could think about functional custom currencies, really have value chain specialized custom currencies, like if they do value chain trade among over the borders, like in Europe now. In Europe, the interbanking market collapsed. We have no trade of liquidity between Italian and Greece and so on, commercial banks. So the target two saldos are billions and billions, and nobody knows what it is. Actually, it's just a fraction of how much gold or cash is mined in different countries. But the point is that central banks have flooded the market with liquidity, but liquidity is not done, given to the lower level, and that could be a issue of application of decentralized trade of debts. Yeah, so the technology we use at Oicos is category theory, open games. This thing here, trigonometrics, intranets would be interesting to combine, so we have a very clear-cut interface to Statebox. And technically, I think what this is about is a credit and cash typed concurrent state transition system with money accounting as the macroeconomic invariances. Thanks.
Questions?
Questions?
Yeah.
Pardon? 1 second, over here, microphone. Yeah?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Hi, thank you very much for your presentation. I'm quite naive about many things, and also exactly what you're doing, but what has intrigued me about blockchain, and maybe the intentions of the community around blockchain, is a way to make credit or finance possible for, well, as Yella was saying, for social projects and this sort of thing. We have, like, for instance, in Europe or in Amsterdam, a massive housing crisis. And there's a real need to release funds for development of cooperative housing, and we need a new kind of form of philanthropy. So how would you envision, say, a decentralized system like this in being able to enable people to have access to capital in new ways to be able to achieve social ends? Big question, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this application lends itself also very natural to microfinance. So there actually have been projects like that. So in the moment, so I tend to think about these tokens and so on as, you know, if you don't have a credit and loans market where these tokens are used to denominate the credits like you do have in real estate, then you are not even talking about the beginning of a currency. But like miles in most system, or you know, something like that. Just to name it, the dollar you put in token just by another name or similar, but it's not a currency. So, so that the currency application could help in if you have really a problem in financing these houses, and that the finance could come from somewhere else, and then you would have here a useful accounting of it.
Yeah, but where would it come from, the finance? Where would it come from?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this you will not solve with technology this problem, I guess, but you could organize it. We have here all kinds of possible smart contract possibilities on top of these games. So let's say, yeah, that the games of the controls, that the games representing the control structures underneath are with combined with contracts. I don't know exactly how that would fit into actually your application, but you need to look at it, how it instantiates this framework into your application. It could enable something which is otherwise not possible. So
there's a need to get rid of the mortgage model. So there's a real need to move beyond mortgages and putting people in lifelong debt, and just start sort of a real sort of level of social investment. And I don't know if there's like...
I mean, very decentralized ways that you could possibly really organize a loan and credit system really peer-to-peer to people which are in the community or known, or I don't know what the actual economic problem in your situation is, but if there are not enough credits here or loans, then something in the sovereignty checks of the banks obviously doesn't work, or in their liquidity or something like that. We need to look at it actually, and then design a mechanism design. I think that is also not only a framework to implement things, but just to keep on the economic structure organized while you think about it. So it's a, it's a modeling. Modeling is a tool to help people to solve problems together. So in that sense.
Thanks for your presentation. I have a question. What are your views on a banker in general? Because there is this famous theory that every system is sustainable when there is some ratio or balance between resilience and efficiency. Resilience is diversity and efficiency. And banker protocol basically what is saying that if you have more than one currency in a system, the system is more resilient and hence more sustainable. So what is your view on this theory? Is it true, or because the best example is maybe Eurozone. In Eurozone we have one currency but very diverse ecosystem because the purchasing power in the states differs a lot.
Yeah, so the optimal currency area, that's the first question, then I come back to bankers. The optimal currency area question asked that question, and this is really about the diversity of the members. If they are too different, then the one and only money policy which you need to run in a currency, you only have one central bank, it might not fit to every country. So that's a basic problem you have. So you, by checking the optimal currency area criteria for the group of countries, you check their heterogeneity, essentially. So that's the first answer. The second to the bankers, what I think about bankers is, technically by education I am one, but they serve a purpose. So I try to show you that banks do have a functionality in societies, but how they are actually implemented and so on very much depends on, as you can imagine, on the technological situation and also on the progress of money theory. Maybe we will come up with a theorem on that and say that there are no banks needed at all, and what part of it. And so, I don't hate bankers. They do their job, and if we don't tell them what they should do, they can't do a good job. So that's how I think.
Yeah, there was a question there.
Yeah.
We see. They are building now atomic swaps. So in the future, then I guess everybody has his own currency and automatic swaps it to the currency you want. Is it then still possible to do central banking?
I don't know what is the swapping.
It's so then they atomic swaps.
Different blockchains.
Yeah, different blockchains.
Communicate
deploy different contracts on different blockchains that are interlocked with each other, so that you can exchange a good from one blockchain to the other. You can pay in Ethereum to have Bitcoins, for example, in a way so that the goods are released from escrow only if both sides are satisfied.
Yeah, so in the future I imagine I'm a baker and I get baker coins and I go to the butcher and I want some meat, and the butcher only wants meat coins. And I pay with my baker coin and he gets meat coin and that settles it.
So to the extreme, one needs to really think about what relative prices are, what currency are before one evaluate that question. So, think about every good having an own token, where we are then. Then we have only relative prices, and I have to know for each butcher how is the relative price to the other butcher and so on. So again, here money serves a purpose and central banks serve a purpose. We reduce the number of relative prices and to the faculty of a huge number for goods and prices in money. So there's a computational dimension to it. In general, yes, I think cryptocurrencies need to talk about what is the exchange rate between these tokens.
Yeah,
if they call themselves.
It can also be assets in companies, but if you get really fast, so you can sell your Shell share before you have to pay a beer on the bar, then certainly Shell shares are also included in the money system.
Yeah, then the Federal Reserve will be very happy because you will use the dollar as the reserve currency, and the business case to the Fed is even bigger than before. Cryptocurrency enabled.
All right, everyone. Thanks for this. There's going to be a